Everyone, I welcome you all to this video. And in this video, we are going to discuss about yet another important SQL interview question. And I am already having the data, basically the code available to create the table, because we'll be using that table to discuss this question. So I will first of all open the notepad and I will simply copy this piece of code and I will paste it in SQL Server. And I will provide this code in the resource section so that you can create the same table and you can follow along with me. So we want this table to reside in advanced SQL questions database. That is already selected. You can see here at the top, and let's simply execute this code. So a table by the name ReportingStructure was created, and this table consists of the following 6 records. Now I will simply click here on new query, and the moment we will click here on new query, it will open a new query window for us. And first of all, let's write select star from reporting structure. So let's copy the name that we have, reporting structure, copy it from here and paste it here. Control E. So this will show us the table that we have created, and we will basically be using this table to understand the question, and then we will see how the solution can be achieved. So first of all, here you can see that in this table that we have following 3 columns. In the very first column we have employee ID, while in the second column we have employee name, and the third column we have manager ID, right? So the requirement is that we want to create a table that should consist of only 2 columns. The very first column will tell us about the reportee, and the second column will tell us about the manager of the reportee, right? And here we have only 1 column where employee name is written. Fine, because the managers are also employees. So corresponding to the employee IDs of the managers as well, you will find their names here, right? So their names will be present here. And that's all. So what we will do, we will simply execute this piece of code, that is where the self join will be used, and we will try to solve this problem by using the concept of self joins. So let's see how it works, right? And also you should note that in the manager ID column we have null values. So if I'll talk about the very first record, so there's an employee by the name Alice Smith, and this employee doesn't report to any manager. That's why the manager ID is basically equal to null. So we will basically be using the concept of self joins. So in order to use the concept of self joins, the same table is being used, same table is used. So I will write that table. I will create that table here, and the notepad you can see, OneNote. This is the table that we have, and we will then create a replica of this table. Because when we are talking about self joins, so the join is applied of a given table to its own self, right? And this table is having 3 columns. So in the very first column, we have employee ID, then we have employee name, then we have manager's ID. Similarly, here in this replica, we have EID, then we have the name, and then we have the manager's ID, right? We will be giving an alias name A to the first table, to one of the tables, and we will be giving an alias name B to the other table. If I'll talk about the records that we have, so here we have 1, 2, 6, so we can write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then we have corresponding names in name column. And then in MID column, we have null. Then we have 1, 1, 2, 2, and 3. Similarly, here we can write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we have following names. And then we have null. And 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. So if we will talk about the output, so let's see 2, 3 records that we might expect in the output. So if I'll talk about Alice Smith, so since Alice Smith is not reporting to any manager because the manager ID is equal to null. So in the manager column, we should get null for Alice. Similarly, we will talk about second employee, that is Bob Johnson. So since Bob reports to employee ID 1, that is, he reports to Alice Smith. So in manager's column, Alice should be written. If we will talk about Carol White, so Carol White reports to manager ID 1, that is Alice Smith again. So Carol reports to Alice Smith again. And so on. Other records should be visible like this. So these are some of the records that we have, that we should be expecting in the output. So let's write the code now. So I will reduce the size of this output section. And I will write select star. First of all, let's write select star and then we will determine the columns. So first of all, let's write select star from the name of the table, that is reporting structure. So let's copy it and paste it here. And let's give this table an alias name A. So this is the first table that you can see here on the right hand side. And then we are going to use inner join. So we will write inner join. Then again, reporting structure. And let's give this an alias name B. And these two tables will be joined on the basis of a certain condition that we will discuss now. So what we will do, we will basically apply a join based on the condition that whenever employee ID of table A matches with manager ID of table B, in that case, we should be able to identify the reportee and manager, and then we should populate them in the corresponding column. So let's see how it happens. So if we will talk about the employee ID as 1. So employee ID 1 is basically for Alice, and Alice basically, he doesn't report to any employee, right? So employee ID 1 will match with this MID 1 and MID 1. So Alice is basically the manager for other two employees, that is for employee ID 2 and employee ID 3. So the moment this 1, that is from table A in the EID column, matches with MID from the table B, so in that case, corresponding employee names should be returned from table B, and the corresponding employee names which will be returned from table B will tell us about the reportees. While the employee name from table A will give us the manager's name. Right? So what we should write? So we will basically apply this condition first of all. So in the join predicate, we can write A dot EID, that is employee ID, is equal to B dot manager ID. Fine. And in the select statement, we will remove this star, and since we will bring the manager's name from A table, so we will write A dot employee name, and this will give us the manager's name. So we will write manager, and then comma, we have B dot employee name, and this is basically the reportee's name. Reportee. So if we will now execute the statement written from line 5 to 8, let's see what is the output. So this is the output that we get, right? So first of all, Bob is the reportee and Bob reports to Alice. So this looks perfectly fine. Let's say we want to show this reportee column first. So I will just copy it and I will paste it here before this column, that is manager's column. And now let's execute the code. So you can see that the name of the reportee is being displayed, and you can see that Bob reports to Alice and Carol also reports to Alice, and this was the expected output. You can see that Bob and Carol both report to Alice, and similarly other records are also being displayed. But there is one problem that here when we discussed the output, we said that since Alice reports to nobody. So this record should also be present in the output. Although the data is available for all other employees, all the reportees and managers, but for Alice, the data is not available. This record should be present in the data set, this first record that we discussed here. So what we will do, we will write a union, we will use the union all operator, union all, and we will say select employee name from select employee name, comma, we may write null, employee name, comma, null from the main table, and the name of the main table is reporting structure, where manager ID is null. So we will be using one more statement, and in the select statement we have mentioned that the data should be shown only for Alice, and we will simply append it to the records that we have obtained here in line 5 to line 8. Why didn't we get the record for Alice? We didn't get this record for Alice because for Alice, if you will see the manager ID column, since in the manager ID column the value is null, and as we have already discussed that in the joins the null values are not considered basically, right? So let's say there's a column in which there's a null value and you're applying a join based on that particular column, so that null value will be neglected, it will be ignored. So you will simply not get any output corresponding to that. But here we want this record in the data. So that's why we are using union all. So if now I will execute the select statement written in line 12 and 13. So you can see that this is the data that we get, and might be for the second column we can put it in square brackets and we can write the field name, that is manager. All right. If we will now execute the select statement, the SQL code written from line 5 to 13, you will see that this is the output that we get, and this was the output that we expected. All right. So for all other employees, the data is being represented. You can validate this data if I will further resize it. One second. And if I will run these two SQL codes together, if I simply click here on execute, so you can see that at the top, we have our main table available, and here we have all the reportees and all the managers. So you can check for any employee. So if I'll talk about record number 4, so for record number 4, the employee name is David Brown, and David Brown reports to ID number 2, and ID number 2 is your Bob Johnson. So David reports to Bob Johnson. Similarly, Eve Davis reports to ID number 2, and ID number 2 is Bob Johnson. So that's why Bob Johnson is written here. And I hope this video was helpful, and I hope you understood the question. And this question is frequently asked in interviews, and you can expect these type of questions. So I hope this video was helpful. We'll meet in the next session. Till then, thank you. Bye-bye.